The Gambia government received a petition from the GALA last month. And in this petition, they raised three critical issues. One of them is the implementation of Parliamentary Inquiry Report recommendations on the importation and sale of petroleum products valued at $30 million. The second issue raised was the general update on the progress of audited cases involving corruption and fraud. And the third case is the implementation of the acute kidney failure, or AKI, panel investigations. Now, as a government that is responsive and sensitive to the concerns and demands of citizens, we took these petitions very seriously. And we convened a high-level panel to sit and scrutinize these petitions and come up with an appropriate response to the GALA. How do you know that we are taking this very seriously? Today we have cabinet here. Today GALA is interfacing, the public is interfacing with cabinet. Cabinet is not a space. Cabinet is a composition. And here today we have about 7 to 8 cabinet members here because we take the concerns of citizens very seriously. As already announced by the chair of the press conference, the Minister of Finance will read the government's press statement, which is the response to the GALA. Obviously, we'll hand over the written one to the GALA after the press briefing. But one thing that we want to emphasize as a government, that we are ready to engage citizens, to discuss issues that are of critical concern to everyone. We and citizens, particularly GALA, we are not at different convergence points. We are all talking about the same thing, and we are all concerned about the same things. We have a commitment to fight corruption and to ensure that public finances are judiciously managed. And I think that is what GALA wants. So let us engage rather than confront. Let us solve our problems in discussion rooms rather than in the streets, because it will be of nobody's interest. That is what we are pleading as a government. We want to engage every citizen, be it GALA, be it anybody. As long as we are a citizen, we have a concern. Our offices are always open. Our doors are always open. You don't need an appointment. Come and let us sit and engage and discuss our issues and solve it in an amicable manner as expected in any civilized democracy. That is what we want. So I hope that this today will open a new chapter in our democratic journey that will focus and promote engagement rather than confrontation. That will focus on solving our problems in our offices, in meeting rooms, in conference rooms, rather than in the streets. I hope that we are closing that chapter now, and now we are moving to engagement. And I give this challenge to GALA and every citizen, every youth, that government is aware of your concerns, and government is ready to work with you to resolve these concerns. We've opened our doors for engagement, and I hope going forward, engagement will be the appropriate action we'll take in dealing with our collective issues. On that note, I'd like to end here, and I'd like to call on the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs to come and read government's press statement in response to the GALA petitions. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable colleague ministers. In the interest of time, I stand on existing protocols and the media fraternity, GALA members here present. Before I delve into the statement proper, I will just re-echo the statement of the Honorable Minister of Information to emphasize that this is not us versus them. It's a collective responsibility. The action that has been taken by GALA is in the furtherance of public service delivery and to enhance accountability. And your queries have been adequately attended to. That's why you have almost half of cabinet here. And this is just a but I was a lot of work that went into responding appropriately to the queries raised. I will indulge your patience because the questions deserve commensurate response, and the statement will be a bit prolongated, but that's just for the interest of time to emphasize the amount of work that went into this. And the statement is as follows. The government of the Gambia's reaction to the petition from the Gambia against looted assets relating to corruption cases, transparency and accountability in public financial management and governance reforms. We thank you for your presence and your continued interest in the country's progress towards transparency, accountability, and sound economic management. This press conference is organized on the heels of the peaceful protests staged by Gambians against looted assets on the 23rd of July 2025. And the government received the petition in good faith, and as a responsible and responsive government, we are alive to the call made by the citizen seeking to safeguard our shared resources, thereby a call for public accountability and institutional integrity in the management of public resources. The GALA movement raised 3 issues to the government, and these are: 1, implementation of the parliamentary inquiry report, recommendations on the importation and sale of petroleum products valued at $30 million. 2, general update on the progress of audit cases involving corruption and fraud. 3, the implementation of the acute kidney failure panel investigation report. General remarks. Since 2017, this administration of His Excellency Adama Barrow has pursued comprehensive governance reforms across the political, legal, and economic sectors, which have been designed to consolidate democracy, fight corruption, and modernize the management of public resources. The results are visible. Our Corruption Perception Index, as published by Transparency International, score has improved from a score of 30 out of 100 in 2017, at which point our ranking was 130 globally, to a score of 38 out of 100 in 2024, the latest, with a global ranking of 96, meaning we've moved by 34 countries out of 180. This significant improvement is supported by new legislation such as Anti-Corruption Act and the Access to Information Act. The government has also pursued the introduction of a new constitution and has empowered our accountability and governance institutions, which ensures the realization of the clamor for justice and accountability in our public spaces. And also, the World Bank does conduct annual country portfolio and institutional assessment report. The report was just released July, and we have ranked 3.2. We have trailed above the sub-Saharan African average, and this is the highest rating the country has ever realized since the ranking has started. This is not just a number, but it will go on to even increase the resource envelope the government will have from not just the World Bank, but other multilateral partners like the ADB. These are there. And also another scorecard is the MCC Millennium Challenge Corporation, which has ranked Gambia, and our ranking, I think we are number 5 in Africa. These are just score points, but these can all be researched on the internet and verified from the public sources. The fellow Gambians, allow me to highlight some of the key reform agenda introduced by this administration in the public finance management. A new public finance management bill is being developed to replace the existing one to modernize budgeting, expenditure control, debt management, and fiscal reporting. The first cut of this bill has gone through Cabinet, and the comments are now being incorporated for it to be reintroduced to Cabinet for onward transmission to the National Assembly. Also, we have enacted a new State-Owned Enterprise Act in 2023, to oversee the parastatals and improve the corporate governance. The SOE Commission will also support the planned efforts to strengthen budgetary processes and supervision of the SOEs. I think we have some early wins on this Commission's output. The combined losses of some of these state-owned enterprises as of 2024 was about $2 billion in losses. As of June, the combined loss has been reduced by 50% and is now $1 billion. And we are on progress to transform these SOEs. I'm sure you are aware of the sanctions being imposed on some of the agencies. Some of them means pay cuts. For some, it requires travel ban for the chief executives. And these are all reforms that are undergoing. Efforts to improve integrity and transparency of the public procurement recruitment systems have been undertaken. A new Public Procurement Act, GPPA, has been adopted and supported by a rollout of an e-procurement platform shortly to reduce corruption risks, shorten procurement cycles, and enhance competition. The Gambia Revenue Authority is also making continued efforts to strengthen the internal processes. The GRA established an internal affairs unit and has developed the mandates, standards, operating procedures, and other policy documents to support operations. The GRA continues its digitalization effort by full automation of its processes in customs using the ASCUDA wall, and efforts are underway to fully digitize the current domestic tax administration called Gam TaxNet into an integrated tax management system. I think on this one we all see the quantum leap our revenue performance have gone through recently. And just these are numbers that can be compared easily. We have seen GRA perform phenomenally thanks to digitalization. For the first 7 months of the year, GRA has clocked 15 billion. And this can be contrasted with the total revenue collected by GRA in 2022, just 3 years ago, when the total revenue collected was 11 billion. So in a nutshell, what GRA has collected in 7 months in 2025 exceeds the total annual collection of 2022, which was 11 billion. The amendments to the Central Bank Act of 2018 strengthened the central bank governance and independence, which established a stronger foundation to further enhance the central bank governance and operation. A new banking bill has been drafted to modernize supervision, strengthen prudential standards, and improve risk management in the financial sector. To strengthen anti-corruption framework, its authorities have enacted a new Anti-Corruption Act, and the appointment of the commissioners of this commission is in progress. These reforms have not only strengthened the Gambia's public financial management framework, but have also translated into tangible benefits for citizens. Improved fiscal discipline, more efficient expenditure control, and stronger revenue administration have led to marked increase in government revenues at the GRA. I mean, revenues increased from 7.79 billion only in 2017 to 20.85 in 2024. I was just giving the latest statistics of 2025, registering an annualized growth of 15.2% over the revenue collection period, or an increase of more than 162%. These funds have been channeled into visible projects such as upgraded roads, expanded energy access, modernized public facilities, and directly enhanced economic activities and the quality of life. The direct beneficiary of some of these efficiency gains are even in the civil servants' compensation. The regime has increased the compensation to the civil servants by more than 110% since 2017, and in the last 2 years by more than 60%. Today, nobody in the civil service is receiving anything below $6,000 per annum as a minimum. We have done 2 salary increases in the last 3 years. In 2022, we increased 30% across the board. In the last 2025, we increased the salaries by a wage bill increase of 30%, but some of the grades, this was cascaded. The lower grades have increases of more than even 70%. These are where these efficiency gains are channeled to. The digitization of the custom and tax administration, coupled with the rollout of the e-procurement platform, has streamlined the service delivery, reduced processing times, and improved public access to services. These technological upgrades, alongside a stronger anti-corruption framework, have increased the detection of fraud and financial misconduct, ensuring that public funds are used as intended. The combination of greater transparency, enhanced accountability, and more efficient systems have built public trust while enabling the state to deliver economic development more effectively. It is paramount to highlight that in addition to the public financial management agenda, this administration has also established a series of commissions of inquiry, including the Janet Commission, the Local Government Inquiry Commission, and the Parliamentary Inquiry on Looted Assets. Furthermore, the government has intensified its fight against drugs, leading to a wave of arrests and prosecution, among other notable measures. The public is hereby assured of the Commission's finding that the Commission findings will be implemented to the letter, that the wheel of justice may be slow but surely will roll out. The administration of justice by its nature comes with challenges. It is said that justice delayed is justice denied, but due care must be made to ensure innocent citizens' rights are not infringed in the process. Addressing the parliamentary inquiry on the importation and sale of the petroleum products worth $30 million, the government has submitted its response to the parliament, while noting the inquiry's conclusion that substantive allegations of bribery, money laundering, and tax evasion on the sale of petroleum product worth 36 million tons, valued at $30 million, could not be established. This was the conclusion of the inquiry. The key four primary bases of the inquiry, it was established, were not found. The government acknowledged the additional comments that the parliamentary inquiry produced, and revelations related to serious governance. These are like issues of governance and administrative issues were highlighted as additional output of the inquiry. The government acknowledges the inquiry's revelation related to serious governance and regulatory failures, pervasive non-compliance and financial, tax and corporate laws, and troubling disregard to due process by both public institutions and private entities involved in the transaction. As a result, the government informs the National Assembly of its commitment to upholding good governance, enhance systems of internal control, institutional strengthening, and its strong will to enforce the laws and regulations in the management of public resources. To that end, the government welcomed the work of the Parliamentary Committee and has taken note of its recommended reforms, stricter regulatory frameworks, and urgency to enhance interagency coordination to prevent the recurrence of such anomalies. As such, the government is committed to take decisive actions towards addressing identified anomalies as identified in the report. Bearing in mind that the inquiry started with the report of suspicious transaction report flagged by the Financial Intelligence Unit, which was followed through by the FIU investigation investigating anti-money laundering and financial crimes related to the transaction. The FIU investigation was shared with the police and the central bank for further investigation. Both the police and the central bank conducted investigations and reached inconclusive findings to the effect that the fundamental question in respect of source identification of funds came from oil proceeds. Notwithstanding, the transaction itself was clouded with suspicion given the relationship between the entities involved, for which a closer scrutiny would have discovered some regulatory breaches. To that effect, the government is implementing recommendations made in the report such as follows: that the Ministry of Petroleum and Energy has restored the sole regulatory authority for overland petroleum imports to PURA since the 4th of July 2024, restoring regulatory coherence and institutional integrity. This corrective action reflects the commitment of both the Ministry of Petroleum and PURA in upholding regulatory best practice. PURA is actively reviewing the enforcement regulation to bring them in line with international best practice. The authority aims to finalize and adopt revised enforcement regulations alongside updated petroleum licensing guidelines by December 2025. The central bank has sanctioned 2 commercial banks following the inspection prompted by the FIU intelligence report and is conducting a special audit of foreign currency transactions and sub-accounts managed by third parties to ensure that no such arrangement exists in the banking sector for the perpetration of illicit transactions. The GRA has issued best of judgment assessment to the 2 non-compliant petroleum companies, that is Creed Energy and Ultimate Beige Limited, in the sums of $8,576,716 and $12,296,923 respectively, and instituted a recovery process to ensure that they comply with the tax obligation. Recognizing the critical importance of a nationally accredited petroleum laboratory in safeguarding the product quality, environmental safety, and consumer protection, the government of the Gambia has entered into an agreement with SICPA for the construction and equipping of a state-of-the-art petroleum testing laboratory under the auspices of the Gambia Standards Bureau. These initiatives represent a major step towards addressing petroleum quality assurance and aligns with broader national efforts to strengthen the petroleum sector infrastructure. Furthermore, government also accepted the recommendation for further investigations and referred this to the relevant authorities for follow-up actions. This includes an independent criminal investigation should be conducted by the police into the conflict of interest and breach of fiduciary duties by the General Manager of Gam Petroleum. PURA, Gambia Competition Commission, should also conduct an audit exercise as regards the fairness in allocation of ullage between January to December 2023 by Gam Petroleum and the report of the National Assembly within 60 days. It is important to note that by the time Apoji came into the country, OMCs were not coming to Gam Petroleum for a protracted period, approximately more than 2 months, mainly because the traditional traders, Boza, Trafigura, and Adax, had stopped bringing products to the Gambia since the missing stock saga of October 2021. The new management started negotiating with Trafigura since the assumption of duties by the new MD, that is Trafigura, and Trafigura resumed operations after being convinced of the positive changes in the depot and then signing a storage agreement with Gam Petroleum around the 4th of May 2023, and they applied for haulage of 5,000 metric tons EGO and 5,000 metric ton PMS with an ETA expected time of arrival of mid-May, which was extended towards the end of May. By that time, Apoji had also come, and they were allocated haulage of 14,500 metric tons. For this space to have been there, logically proof that there was little activity in the depot. The Attorney General, Ministry of Justice should constitute a panel to further investigate the conduct of concerned officers in the investigation into the report of the Financial Intelligence Unit and report to the National Assembly within 90 days of tabling this report. The committee recommends that the Attorney General and Minister of Justice constitute a special independent panel to investigate the procedure adopted by the police in investigating the STR against Mr. Orimos and the report to the National Assembly within 90 days of tabling this report. That the Attorney General initiate criminal investigation into Mr. Orimos and related parties for potential money laundering and financial crimes. In addition to these measures, the government is also addressing several ongoing cases of suspected fraud across the public institutions. And what we will do here is to just identify the case and synopsis of what the cases entail. There are about 8 of them. Case 1, that is the state versus Balakande, Omar Sise, and Mohamed Lamin Jaite. The details of this case is the case involves senior government officials, a former permanent secretary of Ministry of Health and a former program manager, National Malaria Control Program. They are charged with the offense of official corruption, economic crime, and other fraud-related charges. The prosecution has closed its case, and it's now at the defense stage. Case number 2, that is the state versus Amisar and 5 others. This case involves staff of Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation. They are charged with the offense of corruption and other fraud-related charges. The state has closed its case and it is now for the defense to start. State versus Usman Bahum and 4 others. This involves the staff of the Immigration Department. Accused persons are charged with offense of official corruption and other state-related charges. The state has called all its witnesses and the case is now at the defense stage. Case number 4, State versus Abasanya and Pamodu Jup. This case involved former governor of the Central River region and an accountant. They are charged with the offense of economic crime and other fraud-related charges. Prosecution is ongoing. Case 5, State versus Usual Chairman, 2 others. This case involves staff of the Ministry of Justice, Registrar General Department. The accused are charged to court for the offense of economic crime and other fraud-related charges. Prosecution is ongoing. Case number 6, State versus Jacqueline Kante and others. The first accused is a staff of the Gambia Ports Authority and connived with bank officials. They are charged with forgery and other related offenses. The case is ongoing at the prosecution stage. 8, State versus Ibrahim Janko Koli and others. This case involves magistrate and 2 staff of the judiciary of the Gambia. They are charged with offense of fraud and breach of trust and other offenses as well. The case is progressing before the court. Case number 8, State versus Bubakar SM Jobate. The case is against the former Director of Protocol of Foreign Affairs. He's being charged with fraud related to offenses in connection to diplomatic passport scam. Prosecution has been concluded, now awaiting judgment. Case number, I said 8, but actually the total number of cases is 13. I are on the number of cases at the beginning. Number 9, State versus Mansa Sumare and Ibrahim Assani. This case involves the protocol officer at the Office of the Foreign Affairs and a driver at the State House. They are standing trial on fraud-related charges concerning diplomatic passports scam. The case has been concluded and now awaiting judgment. State versus Lamin Banda. The case is a police commissioner. He is charged with the offense of theft. The case is still ongoing before the court. 11, State versus Chorna Ocham and Babu Seka. The accused staff persons are now being charged with the offense of official corruption. The case is progressing before the courts. 12, State versus Usman Jammeh. Usman Jammeh of GNPC, a pump attendant, was on duty in Brusubi petrol station in December 2022. In the middle of the night, he allegedly absconded with 1,162,607, which was the total sales for the day. Mr. Jammeh appeared in court recently and was charged with theft under Section 233 of the Criminal Offence Act 2025. Case 13, State versus Ibrahim Akrubali, GNPC Bantang Station. Ibrahim Akrubali was the supervisor and was suspected of stealing through official shortages in the tanks. He was suspended and the case is still pending internally. They are still waiting for legal advice on the next steps. Additionally, these are all in public discourse to put in the public media of the action taken by the government in addressing matters of corruption and financial malpractice. Additionally, with respect to the alleged fraud cases at the GPA rating unit between the periods of January 1, 2019 to 31st of December 2021, involving 9 staff members of the authority, alongside possible accomplices, including consignees and clearing agents. The police initially submitted a report to the Ministry of Justice for legal guidance. The ministry subsequently returned the file to the police, requesting further inquiry into specific matters requiring greater clarity. Following this directive, the police have since concluded their investigation in full and resubmitted a final report to the Ministry of Justice for legal opinion. It is worth noting It is worth underscoring that the entire process was first set in motion by a whistleblower within GPA, prompting the authority to undertake its own preliminary review before ultimately referring the case to the police for a comprehensive investigation. Meanwhile, the board has sanctioned that the GPA staff adversely mentioned in the police report are placed on administrative leave pending further actions. The suspects that were investigated by the police include Rakiba, Binta Sala, Kumbasar, Sohna Bojang, and Yan Yembenga. Moreover, with respect to the alleged fraud case at the GPPC, in the light of the allegation raised by the board chair regarding the suspected fraudulent procurement practices attributed to the managing director, the SOE Commission acted swiftly by placing the managing director on administrative leave and mandating the National Audit Office to conduct a thorough investigation into the matter. The National Audit Office inquiry is presently underway, and the government will determine the course of action regarding the managing director's tenure upon receipt of the final investigation. And another matter that's not captured in the report proper is the investigation at the Social Development Fund. The audit report has been concluded, and both the managing director and the finance director have been sent on the leave, and the Ministry of Finance is taking the necessary remedial action. Disciplinary investigation conducted by the PSC and the PMO. Section 28 of the PSC regulations mandate the Public Service Commission as the sole responsible authority in all matters concerning the disciplinary control of the public service, except for public officers whose disciplinary control have been delegated. When such reports are received, the chairman of the Public Service Commission, in accordance with Section 53 thereof, may constitute an investigating committee. Following the advent of the new democratic dispensation in January 2017, the Public Service Commission was reconstituted and given free hand to execute its full mandate, including the mandate to ensure disciplinary control of the public service. Having taken the prescribed oath, commissions reaffirm its unwavering commitment to transparency, accountability, and rule of law. In recent years, the decisive disciplinary actions have been taken against public officers found to be involved in corruption, fraud, and abuse of office. These measures reflect the Commission's zero-tolerance stand on indiscipline and its dedication to restoring public trust in the civil service. To this end, the Public Service Commission successfully conducted investigations against public officers found to be involved in corruption, fraud, and abuse of office. The Commission has recently conducted these investigations in the following institutions. 1. Department of Fisheries to Ministry of Petroleum and Energy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Gambia Immigration Department, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Natural Resources. Investigation at the Department. On the 11th of July 2023, the Permanent Secretary Personnel Management Office submitted the recommendation to the Public Service Commission, advising the Commission to initiate disciplinary proceedings against Adam Asane, Principal Fisheries Assistant at the Ministry of Fisheries, Water Resources, and Natural Resources. Water Resources and Natural Assembly Matters. Mr. Sane was alleged to have been involved in a fraudulent act of validating catch certificates using the official seal of the Department of Fisheries. Having conducted a thorough investigation, the Public Service Commission concluded that Mr. Sane has failed to perform due diligence in the conduct of his duties. Mr. Sane himself confessed to the Commission that he made errors by way of stamping catch certificates without verification. This action by Mr. Sane constituted a serious lapse, thereby contravening the Civil Service Code of Conduct, which considers it a gross misconduct for failure by a civil servant to use best judgment in the performance of his or her duties. Consequently, Mr. Sane's services were terminated accordingly. Investigation conducted at the Ministry of Petroleum and Energy. The Petroleum Commission the Public Service Commission received a memo from the Office of the President via letter reference BCQ 59/251 dated 3rd April 2023 from the Minister of Petroleum and Energy, alleging that Mr. Muntaga Sala, Permanent Secretary at the said ministry, impersonated Pa Modusar, advisor to the Honorable Minister, and fraudulently registered 2 individuals as official nominees of the government to attend the Africa Energy Summit in London from 16th to the 18th of May 2023. Following the extensive interaction with Mr. Salah, he posited that it became clear to him in his interaction with one Kemo Sedi that he was involved in a hidden scam on behalf of the Logic Solution to acquire UK entry visa in favor of Mrs. Adama Masre and Sajad Jiba, staff of Logic Solution, who were fraudulently presented as staff of the Office of the President. This scam entailed an implicit offer to meet the cost of government goods to manage it in the event Ministry of Petroleum did not have the capacity. Mr. Salah's registration to attend any such conferences was also offered to be met by the Logic Solution, but approval for his travel and payment of his per diem and air ticket were to be the responsibility of the government. Based on the investigation and the established findings that Mr. Muntaga Salah had communicated with Kemo Sedi regarding the Africa Energy Summit, the investigation concluded that Mr. Salah was in violation of the General Orders 03103 and Section 4.4.8 of the Code of Conduct. Consequently, his services were terminated with immediate effect. Item 3, investigation conducted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Public Service Commission received a missive reference AMH/261/274 dated 3rd of January 2024 from the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Service, submitting a preliminary investigation report related to an alleged forged Gambian diplomatic passport and an appointment letter for one Dr. Enrique Caridad Angola Berrero. This preliminary investigation report highlighted that Mr. Seydou A.M. Ba, Assistant Superintendent of Immigration and the Gambia Immigration Department, was implicated in this fraudulent activity. As per the said memo, the Public Service Commission was requested to carry out a comprehensive investigation into the matter to establish the fact. In the light of the above request, the chairman, Public Service Commission, acted in accordance with Section 53 of the PSC Regulation 2013 and constituted a 3-member committee investigating committee. Following a thorough investigation into the issue, Mr. Seydou A.M. Ba confessed that he facilitated the production of both the police report and an affidavit, which are prerequisite for the creation of the forged diplomatic passport, as well as his failure to inform the relevant authorities after it became clear to him that the whole scheme was a scam. Therefore, the investigation committee concluded that Mr. Ba violated the Civil Service Code of Conduct by failing to use his best judgment in the performance of his duties, as well as concealing an attempt to steal, defraud, or commit an act contrary to the interests of the government. Consequently, the Commission decided to terminate the service of Mr. Ba with the government of the Gambia. Item 4, investigation conducted by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The PSC also received another complaint about Mr. Sute Jao, former Director of the Department of Youth and Sports. The matter followed the Gambia's.
We cannot just say that somebody is accused of something, therefore we act. We have to give people the benefit of the doubt. They are entitled to respond. They are entitled to their side of the story. That's what we all cried for. And this can happen to any one of us. We can be a victim of any allegation. Are we saying once somebody is accused, the person is not entitled to defend himself or respond or reply? So the censure that is recommended in the resolution, if Parliament wants, it's an independent organ of government. They can initiate the censure process against the said ministers. So, but the resolution, I think most of the press statement that was read here today is in response to some of the key contents of some of those resolutions, which you said you will respond to, isn't it? So this dialogue can continue and it can go on further. There's 3 issues I took. What was the 3rd issue? Of course, any law is amended. Nobody's disputing that. But you raise human rights. We need to get things right. If we have to dialogue, we have to dialogue honestly. The ECOWAS Community Court of Justice tested our Public Order Act against the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which is the African standard of our Human Rights Charter. You know about that judgment?
Yes, I know.
You read it?
Yes, I read it.
So.
However, you see, that is the thing with the court. I'm not a lawyer, but that's the thing with the court. The court may make a judgment based on certain principles and evidence. That doesn't deny the fact that human rights, protest, or peaceful assembly is a fundamental human right. So any other law or bylaw must not be used to censor it. That's where the conversation should be. Party laws aside, Honorable, let's just see that it should be, let's amend the Public Order Act.
Like I said,
let the dialogue start from there.
All right, that's fine. Government is willing to talk about this. Anything that can be dialogue. Nothing is off the table. As long as we are talking, we can talk. How do we even amend it? What do we amend it? What do we agree to disagree? These things can form part of the dialogue. Nobody is saying it cannot be discussed. But if we have to discuss, we have to discuss from a frank point of view. You cannot tell me something is illegal that I know is not illegal. And I agree just because I want to dialogue with you. All right then.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I said, let's be considerate. Again, as we said, Honorable Minister said, audi alteram partem. We want to promote that principle of quality before the law and fair hearing. Your name and media organization, you are blocking those cameras.
I'm Clement Sane, working for Korea newspaper and also for Flex News. My question will be a follow-up to the Minister in regards to the Public Order Act. Your predecessor, Minister Gambia, has tabled this bill before the National Assembly to repeal the Public Order Act. It was withdrawn from the Parliament. Up to today, the public didn't know what was the rationale behind the withdrawal of the repeal of the Public Order Act, and you need to tell the public because this has been a concern. And the follow-up question is regarding about the issue of the AKI victims. Government has a responsibility to protect lives and properties of the Gambian citizens, and once life is lost, then there's a criminal element in people failing in their responsibility. Why did the government wait for the victims' families to pick up the matter when government could have protected their citizens by instituting a criminal charges against anybody who was found wanting about the AKI victims, rather than just suspending or expelling medical pharmaceutical council, I don't know, their director, rather than actually taking a legal action for his negligence or whatever?
I don't know the reason for the withdrawal of the bill to repeal the Public Order Act. I'm afraid probably I can find out because nobody have ever briefed me the reason for the withdrawal, so I couldn't speak to that. AKI, like I said, a process was going on. But people have the right to go to court anytime they feel like. Probably they think government process is slow. And that we are not embarrassed to admit to that. Government processes, even in the developed world, sometimes can be painstaking. This is a hard fact. Governments don't operate like a private company. So many things have to go through so many processes. And sometimes it's true. Not only even AKI victims, even the victims of Jammeh, the transitional justice, some believe that is going very slow. But we are doing what we can do and our best under the circumstances. And I wish any one of you will be sitting on the chair that I'm sitting. You will face the same challenges, right? So sometimes we wish things to happen, but we cannot get them to happen at the pace at which we want it. And because of processes, because government have a design system, have processes, have laws, have a lot of regulations that need to be followed. And some of these things, some don't happen the way overnight. So processes were underway, like I said. There were even negotiations that started. I can even go to an extent to tell you there was a budget line to start compensating the victims. But they declined the offer that was made by government. And they choose to claim higher amounts in court. Once they go to court, we are now bound to go with them to court and wait and see the outcome of the court. We couldn't do much. But we continue with our other bilateral engagement, trying to engage the government of India, try to see how we get in touch with the company that is actually the company that manufactured these drugs until they found their way into the Gambia. So government is relentless. No government will lose kids, babies, and be complicit in the way you address that issue. Really. But like I tell you, this is the situation. We were doing what we can, but in the meantime, we were served with a suit from the court. What do we have? We have no choice but to go to court and start defending the suit that we were served with. But there was a budget already allocated for compensation. But what we offered, they didn't accept it. They didn't even accept a part payment. So what else can you do?
How much was it? It's important.
No, on top of my head, I cannot remember. That budget is with the Ministry of Health, not me. But Ministry of Health have informed me as the government lawyer that we have this much amount. Because I am the one that was talking to their lawyers. They've instructed me to negotiate. If I agree with them, Ministry of Health had a budget they are willing to pay. But in our negotiation with their lawyers, the gap was so high, so we couldn't agree. The next minute we were served.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I raise order? What's on the line? Okay. Yeah, lady.
Because the recommendation from the National Assembly does not call for an investigation, but immediate suspension. Thank you.
I think this is the clarification we are trying to make. A resolution from the National Assembly to an executive. These are different organs of government. It's still a recommendation. And that recommendation needs to be investigated because these people have a contract. So you need to do further investigation and check and decide what is the best course of action. We need to understand. You see, if we want to be in civil society and we want to be advocates, we need to understand the relationship between organs of state. National Assembly does not necessarily dictate to the executive. When they pass a resolution and ask government to do something, its equivalent in law is a recommendation. Now, government need to look into that investigation and look at the evidence that National Assembly relied on to recommend that somebody should be sacked or somebody should be punished. So those investigations, I don't know, but those investigations were going on as far as I am aware. But from the legal point of view, I just want to clarify that it's not every recommendation from the National Assembly to the executive can be acted upon without further check. Because the recommendation is not law. This is one organ of state sending recommendation to another organ of state. It's not a court judgment.
So let's be clear. Besides the legal consideration, the charge against the general manager, Gam Petroleum, Mr. GALA, was that he was unfairly allocating storage space. We call it ullage, right? Now, to that extent of unfair treatment in the allocation of ullage, then that was the basis for the recommendation. Now, but the investigation and the substantive evidence that supports it was also quite weak because the statement have clearly addressed that to say at the time of allegation of unfair treatment, actually there was ample space on the, in the depot. About half of the space of the depot was occupied. Now, if that is the case, why also not make similar recommendation to the other private storage facility, where some of this oil also found its way anyway? So you said that you were this was unfair allocation of space, but these people were I mean at the time literally all OMC were boycotting the space. They were not going there, and that even when this gentleman was the one who initiated and make engagement to attract even half of the space then get occupied through his time. So he was desperately looking for people to come and patronize the space. But like I said, it's a recommendation, and like the Attorney General have said, not all recommendations are binding. But the state have responsibility to look into it, and on the benefit of the merits, then address it.
Let me clarify one thing. If you just 1 second, let me clarify something. If you look at the schedule of the National Assembly for this September session, which has been published, some of those recommendations, they have listed the ministers concerned to come and respond. Because in their own standing orders, when they make such resolutions, whoever has been advancedly mentioned in those resolutions, you are entitled to respond. All right? So if you look at the September session, in their schedules, ministers have been listed to come and respond to some of those resolutions that were made. That shows that even after the resolution, National Assembly itself knows that there is room that the person that has been advancedly mentioned could make a reply, and based on that reply, in fact, their position could change. So you don't expect that once a resolution is passed, it will be implemented. Some of these resolutions need further investigation, whether the allegations are substantiated or not.
No. Next question, please.
National Assembly recommended that because he was giving out depot spaces.
No, that's not me. I don't know about that.
Okay, next question.
What?
Is it done or you're done? No?
Was that stated in the report? Was that stated in the report? Did you read the report? No, it's not there.
All right, next question. Next question. Your name and media organization, the guy there? Yeah, so, which one? No, we have to balance, you know, that side, and then we go back to the other. We have to balance both sides. I shall give you mic, and then we go to the other side. We have to balance, you know. Let's be considerate. One question to other colleagues. It's very crowded today. We have full house today. Remember, go ahead, your name and media organization and question.
Thank you very much. My name is Momodu Jani from the KMC Community Radio. I will start from the Minister of Finance. He made mention that the government is ready and committed to having dialogue with young people. But my question will go to the Attorney General, Minister of Justice. We are having 38 young people.
So wait. You said where are you from?
KMC Community Radio.
Is it registered radio station?
We have to have questions based on today's.
That question.
No, I'm asking, is it a registered community radio?
Well, you should help us with that.
I should help.
Okay, next question.
So my question.
No, wait, before you ask your, let's clarify this first. If it's online, you can call it KMC online radio.
KMC online radio. So my question will go to the Minister of Justice, even though I will pick from the Minister of Finance, and the government is committed to having dialogue with young people before they resort to the streets, which is commendable. So I want to ask the Justice Minister, because currently we have about 38 young people. 23 have been granted bail from the court, and the other 15 from under the police. Is the government ready to drop all the charges levied against these young people, to have a dialogue with them in order to complement the efforts of the government?
The question was answered by the Chief of Staff. Honorable Chief of Staff, answer the question. Okay. Next to the other side. Your name on it. It's already been answered by the Honorable Chief of Staff. Okay, okay. Give chance to the other one. Let's maintain some decorum now, please. I know one or two aberrations are inevitable, but let's go ahead. Go ahead. The guy holding the mic. Go ahead. Ask the question. No, it's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. Ask the. Answer. Ask your question. He's on the bail. He's taking bail conditions.
It's all right. I mean, let him stay. Where is he? Don't take him out. Let him stay. We just need to talk to each other as brothers, no temper. What we told the questionnaire, maybe we were not speaking the mic, is the question was answered before.
No, he said he cannot answer the question. The Justice Minister will come and step in and answer.
No. I was here when the question was answered. Myself, I was in the room. When I just came in, I was sitting over there. And he answered. But anyway, what's your question? Repeat it.
I am saying.
Yes.
We have about 38 young people.
Yes.
Currently.
Yes.
Who are continuing with the law.
Yes.
23 that have been granted bail from the court. another 15 from the police. Whether the government is ready to drop all the charges, levied on these young people in order to have a dialogue in complementing the efforts of the government.
Why not? It's on the table. Nothing is off the table. Let's just continue dialogue. Yeah. I answered you. I said there is no reason why we should not.
Can I come in?
Yeah.
maa ngi tudd Modou Lamine Diouf maa ngi liggéeyal Victor FM radio ci state ministre bi bëggoon naa laajte di nga doon wax taxawaay réewi Gambia ci àdduna si ak niñ ko xoolee ci ñëwee ci wàllu guerre corruption ak yooyu kookaat bi wax nga mention nga ranking bi nga xamante ne Gambia am na ko waaye suñ ñëwaatee ci biir réew mi góom-góom bu ñenn ci réew mi am mooy nguur bi dafa doon nguur boo xamante ne dafa jàppante ak corruption audit report yi ngay génn jaane commission bi xale na liggéeyam xale bi ñu koo gëstuwaat di ko dañ yaakaar ne xale li jàmm dafa dañ ko séedoo bokk ci diggante nit nguur yi tey naka nga mun a reconcile ranking bi ak global level ak perception bi baax boobu so loolu moo def wala jërëjëf
jërëjëf si question boobu liñ mën a wax rek mooy ne corruption is not absolutely measured perception ngay nata perception yi dëkk bi ak perception yi ñoo xam ne that is done by an organization called Transparency International so ñoom seen sarta yi ñoo xool pour identify lanay corruption ak the local context daf dee ute so soo gisee ñu bare ñi ngi wax ne affaire corruption léegi is rampant is because government is actively disclosing this information. Most of these corruption cases are not immediate. They are past events. So I think that is, and having such a discourse, when a government is ready, and there is no corrupt-free country that I know of. It's just the magnitude and the degree. And this level of dialogue is important. So Transparency International, lola aduna pi yep ranye si measurement of corruption. National perception de ute ak international, so you cannot marry the two. They are like apple and oranges. All right? I hope I answered. Thank you.
Thank you. You have about 20 minutes to wrap up. Questions? And gender balance, you have one or two more questions? Okay. Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Name, media organization.
My name is Nelson Mane from Korea Newspaper. I have three questions that I want to ask. The first one has to do with the medical lab. We want to know the exact state of the medical lab and when will it start functioning. The second one has to do with the SOEs, the state-owned enterprise. There is an ongoing trend that the SOEs are now being privatized, and the most recent one is GAMCEL. GAMCEL in an interview said the government is not spending on it, and that is why when most of the GSM operators were having 4, 5Gs, they were still in 2G. And this has made them to have more expenditure than the income they generated. We want to know what is the government's stake, why is the trend going that way, that the SOEs, the state-owned enterprises, are now being privatized.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we need to have a good foundation. Privatization is different from a concession. They may sound technical, but privatization means government selling its shares, its ownership rights. It's different from, like people claim, we have privatized the port. The port has not been privatized. The concession is a partnership between a government and a private operator to do a certain activity. the ownership rights of Gambia Port Authority has not been diluted. The concession partner in the government, in the port's concession, has no shareholder rights in the Gambia Ports Authority. All the rights are within the concession to manage the ports and invest in the deep sea port of Sanyang for a period of time. Immediately that period lapses, the asset will reflow back to the state. Ownership has not changed. And the issue of Gamtel's performance. Gamtel, is a limited liability company owned and managed independently. We all know if you are like an adult, it's just like a case of a child in a house. Your father or your parents schooled you, put you in a job market, educate you. You say, but now I cannot find a job as such. What do I do? You should have helped me. The management of any public enterprise has unfettered access to raise resources, to invest, to manage. Failure to do so, do you expect government to, because that's the difference. You cannot take public resources and put it to SOEs for their continued survival. The management and the board of the SOEs should go to the market, raise resources, and invest for their continuity. That's what their private sector counterparts have done. They did not sit down and say, our shareholders have given us this much, the market is changing, and what do we do? They have gone to the market, borrow, invest, and grow, or do other management efforts to further their objectives. So if a state-owned enterprise has operational issues, they are independent. It is for them, in fact, as we speak, it's a very funny situation. Because in the same sector, you are operating, your competition is operating. All the Gamcell or Gamtel is the lead, is the backbone of the digital system in the country. How come the private sector are able to be more efficient? And they are free to do as they deem. There was no government, of course, legacy issues are there, but under this current dispensation, I'm not aware of government interference. Instead, in fact, government has facilitated certain things by even trying to borrow. For some of them, the loans government have taken for their expansion, like Gamtel, the Eco One. Government today, as we speak, is financing those loans. That's the whole fact. If, for example, you have contracted a loan, you are a limited liability company, you are a state-owned enterprise, you should be able to finance it. Part of the debt stock of government is not the direct borrowing of the government alone. Because government was the guarantor, if they did not pay, government is coming in to pay. The Eco One is not serviced by a butut, by any of the Gamtel. It is the government of the Gambia that is adding it to its debt stock and servicing the debt. So I hope I'm clear on this. And we are more than happy. The concession arrangement, we are not privatizing. And as we speak today, the net worth of Gamtel is not an asset, it's a liability. The liabilities exceed the asset base. I can safely say that for Gamcell particularly, for 3 months in a row, we were taking from our public purse to pay their staff. It was that bad. So government, these are all management concessions government is doing to help bring about efficiency. We all know the Ports Authority is a case in point. If you look at the congestion that was happening there before this concession, ships, any container bound for Banjul has an automatic congestion charge. Ships were bathing at sea for more than 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. In fact, that's why shipments to Gambia used to take months. But with the concession coming on board, there is no waiting time at the port of Banjul. And that's why it has even started reflecting in the price of goods. I'm sure we all notice how much a bag of rice is. It has not gone down a lot, but it has gone down. It's not even going up. All this, yes, we know. No, it depends on the quality of rice. If you, no, I bought too. I'm in the country. I'm just explaining the price of goods have not gone up that much. If you buy an American rice, that one is what everybody buys, including myself. I went to the market, and this is not a make-up story, and I asked. At the turntable, as he says, it's 2,070. I said, but the last time it was 2,200. What has happened? He said, no, what, never one. This is a transaction I conducted myself. At the turntable, there is a sub there. I'm just speaking from my own experience. I'm not making it up. Yes, so these are facts. All of these, and that's not the only one. There are a lot of other efficiency gains the concession is bringing in. So I hope I'm clear on that. Thank you. All right.
Quickly on the medical lab, I read from the ministry. Medical lab is almost ready. Most of the equipment. You know where the medical lab is, by the way? Brusubi. How is it? It's good. It's nice, huh? Wonderful.
You should go for a visit. Contact the Ministry of Health.
Medical lab is almost ready. Most of the equipment is purchased and in country. For early next year, the lab will be in use and operational. Closing date for the current contract is December 31st.
Thank you so much, Chief. You understand? We have 10 more minutes to go. Everybody talk about bag of rice. We are mono drinkers. I think our price is fine. We are fine with porridge. One or two more questions. From this end and from this end?
From this end.
And, all right. I also have the mic.
Okay. My name is Nani Sise. I work with the Gambia Journal. The Honorable Justice Minister has been saying that, the National Assembly resolution or recommendation is not binding. But what the minister is not telling us is whether the government is investigating these ministers. Is the government investigating these ministers based on the recommendation or resolution from the National Assembly? And second question is, the AKI victims. We all know this government, they barely, obey the court orders. I can give you example of Alhaji Bora's case, Maynard Filadone's case, and also Omar Lamis's case. The government, the courts made orders, but the government is still insisting, in fact, refusing to actually, accept court orders. Is the government ready to pay these victims the amount or the cost that is going to be awarded against the government? Because you people have been in negotiation with the families, but no actual agreement has been made. Is the government ready to pay the victims the actual amount awarded against the government? Thank you.
Nothing has been awarded. Okay, let's wait for the... Okay, so you are asking if they prevail in the court, whether we will honor the judgment. Yes, government is committed to honor all judgments entered against it that has not been appealed and set aside. But, however, again, like I said, from outside you may not understand, and that's why these dialogues are important. We have a queue of judgments to settle. We have a queue of judgments. Now, I'm telling you, I'm being very real. So judgments are paid based on how they come. Because these things are budgeted. I mean, National Assembly, you can talk to them. There are budget lines on the Ministry of Finance for settlement of judgments that are entered against the government. You can have judgments locally, you can have judgments sometimes even in international arbitration courts and things like that. So they are paid as they come, depending on how the budget can sustain them. So, but there is no deliberate, in fact, if you check with the ECOWAS Community Court, let me just say that Gambia is on the top of the countries in the whole of ECOWAS region for honoring judgments, monetary judgments awarded by the ECOWAS Community Court. And these are paid to Gambians. Gambians who took the Gambia government to the ECOWAS Community Court. Of course, most of the issues they took the government to court for are Jammeh-related human rights violations. But when they prevail, we pay them, and we still pay. So when you have a subsisting valid judgment, monetary, government will pay. It's coming from all of our money, all of us. It's the taxpayers' money. So if your judgment is valid and is monetary, one day you will get your money. So, but with AKI, that's your question specific to that. Of course, yes. The reason why we are in court, if they prevail, we will respect the judgment.
The other side?
Yes. Follow up to that? Yeah, why not?
Name and media organization.
As one state that
compliance with their judgments.
Is that compliance to ECOWAS court judgments?
That's what I'm saying. ECOWAS community court judgments.
We're talking about our courts.
That's what I'm telling you.
No, we are talking about our courts, not what ECOWAS court did, because you don't have a choice with the ECOWAS court. It's either you pay or you pay your fees and they will move it from it. We are saying our local court judgment.
Okay.
Our local court judgment. Are we respecting the judgment and the fight and paying? Because Pamolu is an example, and a lot more examples. That's what we are talking about. We're talking about the ECOWAS judge. Let's localize the compensation now.
So, with Pamodu's case, do you know that it has been appealed? There was instruction to have the matter appealed, so we need to check that. Well, what I'm saying, you are right. There's a distinction between domestic court judgments and ECOWAS court judgment. But you are wrong in saying that we don't have an option with ECOWAS court. In fact, enforcement of the ECOWAS court judgment on a sovereign country is even more difficult. Because if we don't pay, there's nothing they can do. Enforcing a judgment against a sovereign state is even more difficult than the domestic ones. So it's not that we are compliant with payment of ECOWAS court judgment because we don't have an option. No. It's the character of this government I'm trying to show, that we are willing and ready to comply with valid court judgments, domestically or internationally. And we've already made a record at the international stage, and we are doing our best to comply with almost all the domestic court judgments.
This way.
Time is up.
Yeah.
What was it? Yes. That is what is leading to all this dialogue. In our preparation of this statement that was delivered by the Honorable Minister for Finance, we looked at every single allegation contained in that resolution. Well, like I told you, we go through them, look at the evidence that the National Assembly had access to, and their conclusions vis-a-vis what is the order of evidence that they might not even have seen. So yes, government is looking into it. Sure. We don't just say it's a recommendation, so we put it aside. No.
So if they are found wanted?
Naturally, this government, President Barrow had made a statement that there's not going to be he's not going to be anybody's godfather with respect to these issues.
Thank you.
Yes. Your name, media organization.
Nañu ka polo ba telementi wala Minister of Finance biraba lori jang ay tan jere ko game masakunda ni India masakunda ka ka so ka pour kare iba case file la nyame ni badale mile buru na tanende e mile buru ni da so man factor so ala ko development ni be nyade because case ni ka ka ko ni ari e ka fanya justice delay is justice delay 3 years halta ke so man bo jaba do la ko ani fana corruption wala issue ngajal fana audit case I made that become a baby then accountability one of the board. Karun ko mo mi niyaji ke dismiss le ye dimo wara to prosecute do ye for sure retirement. But in be reactive measures sir adu masakunda e katama ba ke mina one proactive measures. So mbal la fla kalon ko mi sifana le be pour ka de corruption wala ko although it eradicate but ka mi ke kende pour ala ko ci kala ka mi million demand be ka fili banko ka. You cannot afford money soron do the president ye pare one to ye na can be so years sentence but as a prevent no can
I should explain in Mandinka or English? Yeah. Okay. Ila nyini karo kumata bake. In fact, nyine formu na malam bebe formu. Nyine formu na nyantoti because nga menjube masakunda malla fi drong pour ala banku dingol sibla katako go hadamadi mantimba so wala nanga fero landi ka falendiro ke masakunda la nafulo tamande nyaato non do ni tata immigration passeport e ka kodo jo kasialera visa wote kere ni tata e ka jo bankle ni data lands ikajo bankle ni data RVTH nunto kasial le beje ka kodo collect sign bankle beje so lafta menke la wala nyindi ko follow ni la fakke ila banko dingol tanka ike tanka katale follow wala nyindi ela do ko bundal fali nyala me alonko mol bulote tukla kodoma so masakunda la tamadre nya falenta wol bi ni data GRA ici la clearance beke e may singolo ports e may singolo giare any custom officer man ñoji na pareta system way assess yeta banque yajo wolbele beje pour kamol makoy kamma sakunda makoy katamar de nya fali masan nala nafulo o mo kilinde fulanjango nunto nin ko kete kapin sain buka so wala akere wato men nam boda kala man simo kije internal audit be ministerial beto auditor general fanala do ko ba tamande kam anu nunto audit report sol kanale yetara palbi ku boka keje bar sain men kake audit report be fundila ron mbesilo momorondi ni e to safeje ngolle to safejante ko masa kunda ka simfal bentaji ku jamal funde raja manke ko molle ya fonde mum tol fangol la do ku nya wala o fali wala no ko na ta funti andon sai ngam memuta and ko president ya fo nyame mote keri min safo ko abe tankandela ni e menje dron ibe tambela kitio nyakle on la loi même fo o loi tama so walanti nangana hani public finance management ba falinkan be loi kutol samba kannan pour ka jeko masakunda la tamandirnya na folo la tamandirnya be fale isaje ko ni dara tuwa do neje tuwa bula corruption mansia ni dara tuwa do ini ma molka menke pour ka kodo tambi no nyobula bukasia mfana la to sifa le dundi la jam so woldam mate kering anim fana audit be kerene fual be falinkanne ani ni ajube digitalization. You understand it? So abole nyama. I hope. Yes. In English? Okay. Yes. All I'm trying to say, this is a very good question. Our objective to fight corruption is by building institutions and reforming processes and procedures of managing public finances. We have to protect our citizens because every human being is fragile, is amenable to make mistakes. Some of these cases, with hindsight, they could have been avoided. It was because of the way the systems were designed. Now we have now gone on to reform the entire government financial management system. In fact, I can safely say in the next few, if it is not already happening, a directive has been issued to eliminate all cashier positions. No longer will any public revenue transaction be handled by a cashier. Even if it is happening, know that it has not yet got there. But we want to ensure that every payment is online, if we get there, or you pay it to a bank, so as to prevent citizens from having the temptation. Because it's sometimes, let me give a simple example. You are collecting millions, and your salary is, let's say, 5,000, and you have financial problems. It's very human that every day you take $10, or I'll fix it tomorrow, thinking that you can make it up. By the time you realize it, it has ballooned to a large amount. That's why we are changing our public financial management systems to ensure that people do not have access to public resources. Our procurement laws have been revised to ensure that procurement is further enhanced. And we did not just do this in isolation. We took a holistic review of public financial management system and vulnerabilities. This includes changing the procedures, changing the legal framework. That's why the public financial management is being changed. And we are very pleased, even if you look at the performance of the revenue collection, all is a reflection of the changes that are being put in place. And I can tell you, some of these changes are not easy to institute. The credit goes to the president himself, because in instituting some of these changes, they are so difficult that the people who are there right now will put up every resistance for it not to take place. But the president is unwavering. He said he has zero tolerance to corruption, and that's why he has instructed us to proactively deter and prevent corruption. The internal audit is working actively, the Auditor General reports, and all these things, like for example, we can pull out some of the cases. Some of them have been discovered at our own instigation. It's not it's the whole mechanism of review and processes that we've put in place. It's a work in progress, but we are slowly getting there. And I think it is incumbent on any citizen. If you see something wrong, report it, say it, and action will be taken. Thank you. What's the second?
Level of engagement with the Indian government.
Oh, Indian government is not my area. I cannot. I think somebody can.
Justice answered already. There'll be maybe also in Mandinka.
On the Indian government, not the details, but like I said, I've been informed that a delegation have been, a special mission have been approved by the president for a while. Well, this is bilateral, so the mission is being prepared. It has been on for a while, since the time of the former foreign minister. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is working on having the mission cleared from the other end, and then the bilateral mission will be undertaken, a high-level mission will be taken to India.
Thank you. Last set of questions.
To me, I can stay or I can sit. Your question? Well, I'm not the chair. Who do you give?
Where's the mic? Take the mic. What's the name, media organization?
All right, my name is Lamiti. I work with the Gambia Petroleum Center. At the same time, I am also the national coordinator for the consumer as well. So my question is in regards to my group prison center. Being one of the inmates that I say, the 23 inmates that were bailed not long ago. I have some serious questions that I want to ask. I'm not sure if the interior minister is here.
He is not, but I can step in.
Questions, that will be fine as well. The question is, part of the 2016 campaign promises was one of the major ones. Part of those 2016 promises were the reform of our prison system. So me being a press inmate coming from my group, who witnessed the inhumanly behaviors and the situation that my fellow inmates were going through, I would like to understand and know why has it took almost 8 good years without reforming that place. One, when most of these government officials have passed through that same situation and they knew about it, they have on several occasions went in there and then visited the place and know how inhumanly that place is. Because you will not even put a dog, like a dog I mean, in that place where they dogs of like putting like your people youth for almost years and all that. And part of the complaint that we receive from some of these inmates are some of them have been there for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years without having the opportunity to face a magistrate to know what their pay is. So you, the Minister of Justice, I think I would like you to delve into that and then give us reasons why one, the reform is not being effective. 2, and the reason why our brothers and sisters have been kept, like I said, in that inhumane situation for years without having that their basic rights which are to them. That is facing magistrate or a judge to understand their fee. So this is the question that I want you to delve into, and it's a very personal question to me. Like I said, I'm just coming from that place less than a week.
Thank you.
So basically, this is not a he say or she say. I'm telling you, this is what I face, and this is the situation in my group. So can you please delve into that? Respectfully, thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take it from where you landed.
One final question.
Not disputing that somebody might have told you. I'm not disputing what somebody might have told you in the prison. But I'm disagreeing that there is anybody in that prison that is there for years without going to magistrate court or court. And I'm giving you the reasons. We have regular prison visits. And then we make sure that the remanded prisoners, their cases may be slow, but for a year, 2 or 3 without appearing before the court, we would definitely be more than happy to receive if you remember the names of those prisoners. No, it's okay. We can take the dialogue further because that is a serious thing. We will take note of that and we will address those ones immediately. But that will be very surprising to me that somebody will be in prison for even a year without appearing before court if you are a remanded prisoner. Right? So we can deal with that if you're able to remember any one of these things. Oh yes, we will deal with those ones. Because we have a regular prison visits. Even the Director of Public Prosecution, the Gambia Bar Association, regularly visits the prisons to take note of those cases and make sure we partner with the judiciary. Not long ago, even the judiciary organized a prison visit with the bar and my office to go and look at those cases and make sure how do we expedite their cases. It's absolutely wrong. It cannot be excused. So we will be very interested to know about those ones so that we can deal with them quickly. The prison's conditions is bad. We don't even argue that. Terrible, whatever you give it, especially for you who came. But this was a strong recommendation of the TRRC as well, prisons reform, and is accepted by government. I don't know whether you watched the Ministry of Interior's turn at the Mansakunda. Was it last week or week before? They have extensively dealt with this issue. The responses are in the YouTube. Already we have a plan for a brand new prison. Part of the funds have already been secured. Land has been secured, and work will commence very soon. So it's a priority. Like I said, it has always remained a priority. But again, the same processes. But as we speak at the moment, the site is secured. Plan have been brought to cabinet, which has been endorsed. And I think more than half of the funds required to start the work have also been secured. So work will start soon, so that Mile 2 prisons will completely be closed down.
Thank you. Final question.
Final? Name, media organization?
I am Nicholas, sir. The foreign newspaper. The Minister of Finance made mention that an investigation, police investigation will be carried out to establish the conflict of interest of the general manager of Gam Petroleum, and also an audit report by Pura. Within 60 days, I want to know when this countdown is commencing. Also, regarding the first protest of GALA, young people were arrested and released unconditionally. And recently, it has repeated itself. And those people were released unconditional, and these people were released on bail for committing the same offense. Why did the state choose to release these ones on bail?
This last question was answered. Justice? Justice?
It's over.
No, the question, who will answer? Who will answer? Justice?
There are two questions.
One is for you.
Yeah, no. Can you elaborate the first question?
About the Gam Petroleum, MD?
Gam Petroleum.
Yes, two things, 2 points of clarity. Gam Petroleum, by law, is a private limited liability company. Recommendations from the government have to go through their governance structure. That means through their board. And that's what the report is actually insinuating. If he was a direct employee of the government could have taken direct action. But that is a point of clarification. And I think we will be transparent with you in this regard. Gam Petroleum, being a limited liability company, of course, majority shareholders are owned by parastatals, which are government, but by form is a limited liability and it has its own board. So in such cases, even when the earlier crisis happened, all the work that was done through the board. You cannot ask government, go ahead and impose on a limited liability company your own course of action to take. So the recommendations have been communicated duly to the governance structure, and the timetable is for them to decide when they'll commence and how they'll proceed with that. Thank you.
The second question.
The question was, why were the forced protesters released unconditionally and these ones released on bail? Who is the author of the question? I'm not too sure whether they are the same offense. The file hasn't reached me yet. It's still a law enforcement stage. I just will try to probably pass an answer. I'm not specific to the previous. Remember, this case at this stage is still at the interior level. It's law enforcement. It hasn't reached my office yet. But it's normal. That's this law enforcement discretion. You can release somebody on self-recognition. You can release somebody on other bail conditions. So it's perfectly okay. I don't know what informed the difference. I wouldn't know at this stage until the file reaches my office. But I can say it's not out of normal. It's not out of the ordinary. It's entirely the discretion of law enforcement.
Why is the police or the interior minister not here? I'm not asking a question because given the situation...
Oh, okay, I can answer.
Thank you very much, and it has been a productive dialogue. Okay, thank you so much, and it has been a productive session, and the government will continue to engage. We believe in dialogue and transparency, and will continue to engage. We'll take your inputs, your ideas. I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Service, Dr. Ismail Assise, to give the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd also like to thank the Honorable Ministers, despite their busy schedule, because of the importance that we attach to these issues. That is why all these ministers came. And I thank them for coming and also for taking their time to respond to some of your questions. I also like to thank the GALA for coming and also for accepting our invitation to come, and also for being civil and also polite, and also for cooperating in asking questions in a manner that we expect in a democratic setting. Also to thank all government officials and members of the press, of course, because it's a press conference. We hope, or we wish we had more time to discuss. I have seen that people are still having questions. This is the importance of dialogue. We'll organize, I think the Minister of Youth discussed that yesterday, working on something to have a town hall. This is the way we can solve our problems. I don't think it should be about us, we and them. Like, it's about us. We have a journey, a common journey. And this journey, our destinies are tied as people, as citizens. And I think if we don't dialogue, we will never understand each other. Perhaps me and Lamin C is my brother. He might be on the other side, venting, me venting. But if we sit and dialogue, we'll understand that we're all on the same page. So let us have that spirit. That should be the spirit going forward, like I said. I know the Public Order Act is a contentious issue. But like you said, the dialogue continues. Every country goes through a reform process. The desire you have to repeal it is the desire other citizens have to maintain it. There are citizens who think that we should maintain it because they believe that it will protect lives and property. No country in the world, no democracy in fact, even the UK, before you go out to protest, you have to notify the police so they can give the required security. It is legal. And if you don't do it, it's a criminal offense in the UK. You need to notify the Metropolitan Police if you want to go out and protest in London. So the Public Order Act is not here to censor or to infringe on people's right to come out and demonstrate. Demonstration is part of political participation. We want people to come out and exercise that right. But in the exercise of that right, the police has to know about it so they can protect you. The right you have to come out to protest is the right somebody else has a right to come and counter-protest. Now, if the police is not aware, and two groups meet and protest, and there is destruction of life and property, who's going to take the blame? The police, because they are responsible for the protection of life and property. So, the Public Order Act is a law for now. Let the dialogue continue to see what we can do, either to repeal it or to amend it, so that nobody loses, so that citizens' rights are respected, but public order is maintained. We have to find that balance. So the dialogue will continue, like I said. As a government, we are committed to listening to the concerns and voices of young people. In fact, every citizen. We've now extended the olive branch that before we take to the streets to demonstrate in anger, engage first. Where we did not listen to your engagements and your concerns, or we expressed nonchalance, then you could say we've exhausted all possible peaceful means of engaging with government. Now we are going to the streets. Then you have a justification for it. But every small thing, within 24 hours we are going to the streets. It is not going to solve anybody's problem. So now going forward, we have opened the gates for engagement. And we are ready to engage with all young people in this country. If you have a concern, let us engage and discuss about it. On that note, I thank you all. This is very fruitful. We'll be having these engagements once in a while so that the public, we understand, public have concerns. And I think we're all on the same page, like I said. We're not enemies. We're not on the different divide. We all want the same thing for the country. All we want, all of us here, is a developed, transformative Gambia. And I think all of us should work together to make that happen. On that note, I thank you all. And Mansakunda is tomorrow. Today, tonight, we have Ministry of Basic Education coming to discuss the education sector. Anybody who is available, you are invited to attend. Thank you. Oh, the police, yes, it's unfortunate that they are not here, but your concerns will be raised, and then me and you will have that private conversation. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.